Hey y'all, it's Crystal. Thanks for coming by today. So today we're just going to be talking about, the Read What You Want challenge a little bit, and this sort of tag, I guess, that MJ did for us to talk about our kind of a top 10 like physical books we really want to get to as part of the challenge over the next several months. several months for some of us, I'm sure. So yeah, I've picked 10 books that I really want to get into. I really want to read. Why haven't I read them yet? That kind of thing, And so this, I guess, is a TBR of sorts of my Read What You Own challenge for the next probably 6 months or so. So we'll see if I actually make time for them or not. So let's run through them real quick. Of course, I'll link Read What You Own challenge. Let me talk a little bit about them. So Read What You Own challenge, of course, was created by Criminali. And you kind of set your goals for how many books that you decide you want to read before purchasing any new ones. Of course, I'm going for the full 100, and I'm excited. I'm pumped. I'm ready. So, of course, MJ and Greg over at Another Bibliophile Reads, Ollie and myself are kind of a cheer team. We've gotten together to be a cheer team for you, and do little things like this to kind of spur you on. So, let's talk about my 10 books I want to read. So first up is going to be another John Ferris book. I could have any John Ferris book really, but after reading Son of the Endless Night, was that back in August, and I loved it. I've got to get to some more of my John Ferris books. This one was easily accessible on the shelf, but this is All Heads Turn When the Hunt Goes By. I have several John Ferris books though. I want to read any of them, but this one does sound cool. And look at this amazing cover. Really want to read this one. So a force thrusting from deep in the African bush into the upper circles of American society could be problematic. We'll see. A force setting a beautiful, loving woman aflame with all-consuming sexuality. Okay. A force turning passion into perversity and a proud Southern clan into a family of fiends. Okay. You are about to encounter the ultimate in evil, and you still have time to back out. Okay, so yeah, I'm definitely intrigued. Yeah, I need to read this, like, stat. Yes, more John Ferris, please, in my life. And this book, which I've had on my shelf for literal years, it's like rinky dinky. Why haven't I read this yet? Look, I don't know. Okay, I can't explain the universe to you. But anyway, this is Banana Yoshimoto's Kitchen. I think basically one of her most famous stories, I think, or most well known. So let's see. So this was published back in 1988 in Japan. So it's been around forever. Where is the blurb for it? I think it's on the back flap. Yeah, the place I like best in this world is the kitchen. So begins this enchanting, original, and deeply affecting book that juxtaposes two stories about mothers, transsexuality, kitchens, love, and tragedy, all seen through the eyes of a pair of free-spirited young women in contemporary Japan, told in a whimsical style that recalls the early Marguerite Duras kitchen and its companion story Moonlight Shadow, are elegant tales that seeming simplicity is the ruse of a masterful storyteller. So yeah, I've just been dying to read this book. I've had this book on my shelf for so long. So this is translated by Megan Backus. Yeah, I've got to get to this book. Actually, another Japanese book that I really want to get to. I was so excited when I bought this book, and I don't know why do we do this? Oh, I can't. You hear about a book, you buy it, you want to read it, and it sits there. I bought this either last year or like earlier this year. I can't remember now. But anyway, so Lonely Castle in the Mirror, translated from the Japanese by Philip Gabriel. It just sounds wonderful. And this cover is like everything. Oh my God. Okay. Would you share your deepest secrets to save a friend? In a tranquil neighborhood of Tokyo, 7 teenagers wake to find their bedroom mirrors are shining. At a single touch, they are pulled from their lonely lives to a wondrous castle filled with winding stairways, watchful portraits, and twinkling chandeliers. In this new sanctuary, they are confronted with a set of clues leading to a hidden room where one of them will be granted a wish. But there's a catch. If they don't leave the castle by 5 o'clock, they will be punished. As time passes, they begin to realize only those brave enough to share their stories will be saved. Tender and playful, gripping, Lonely Castle in the Mirror is a mesmerizing tale about confronting your fears and embracing human connection. Doesn't it sound like a delight? gotta read this. Manhunt by Gretchen Falco Martin. Definitely has been on my radar for, well, how long has this been? A couple years now? A year now? I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, I think I keep, okay, 2022. So it's been out, oh my gosh, okay, yeah. Like, I really want to read this. Also, I'm like really nervous to read it. Or it's like a kind of difficult read. So I think I just kind of keep putting it off, you know? But anyway, so Beth and friends spend their days traveling the ravaged New England coast, hunting feral men and harvesting their organs in a gruesome effort to ensure that they'll never face the same fate. Robbie lives by his gun and one hard-learned motto: other people aren't safe. After a brutal accident entwines the three of them, this found family of survivors must navigate murderous turfs, a sociopathic billionaire bunker brat, and awkward relationship dynamics, all while outrunning packs of feral men and their own demons. Yeah, I just need to read it. I just need to do it. Yeah. Speaking of another book that's been sitting on my shelf for literal years, The Time Traveler's Wife by Audrey Niffenegger. I really want to read this book. This book is like really heavy. What's going on here? The pages, I don't know. It's a super heavy book. Anyway. This book has been around for a while. Let's see when this one came out. 2003. 20 years ago? Oh my gosh. Okay. A most untraditional love story. This is the celebrated tale of Henry de Tamble, a dashing, adventuresome librarian who involuntarily travels through time, and Claire Absher, an artist whose life takes a natural sequential course. Henry and Claire's passionate affair endures across a sea of time and captures them in an impossibly romantic trap that sets the strength of fate and basks in the bonds of love, excuse me. It just sounds kind of wonderful. I never even watched the movie. I know there's a movie. I didn't watch that either. Look at me putting a giant classic on my list. Yes, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I've never read Jane Eyre. I really want to read Jane Eyre though. And I just, it's just a classic I really want to read. But, ooh, she's chunky. She's a little bit big. Oh, just over 500 pages. Ooh. But I will read it. I do want to read it. So let's see. The back's really hard to read though. Oh, lovely. Okay, poor and plain, Jane Eyre begins life as a lonely orphan in the household of her hateful aunt. Despite the oppression she endures at home. Oh my god, this is so hard to read for some reason. It's like this blue, I don't know. She endures at home, and then later at the harsh boarding school she is sent to. Jane manages to emerge with her spirit and integrity unbroken. She becomes a governess at Thornfield Hall, where she finds herself falling in love with her employer. Oh, the dark, impassioned Mr. Rochester. But an explosive secret tears apart their relationship, forcing Jane to face poverty and isolation once again before finally finding happiness. I mean, it's a classic for a reason, and I just need to bite the bullet and flip and read it. You know what I mean? Look at me putting another chunky book. Aren't I cute? I'm so cute. I'm so funny. But Empire of Silence by Christopher Rocchio, I think that's how you say it. It's definitely a sci-fi book I've been wanting to read. I know it's a big series, but you gotta start with the book one, right? You gotta start with number one. So, it was not his war. On the wrong planet at the right time for the best of reasons, Hadrian Marlowe started down a path that could only end in fire. The galaxy remembers him as the hero, the man who burned every last Silesian from the sky. They remember him as a monster, the devil who destroyed a sun, casually annihilating 4 billion human lives, even the emperor himself against imperial orders. But Hadrian was not a hero. He was not a monster. He was not even a soldier. Okay, sort of an anti-hero character. I've heard good things about this book and the series in general. I was gifted the book. I just need to read the book. This is one I keep wanting to read for Week of Weird and never doing. It is a little on the longer side too. That's probably why, because I only have a week for Week of Weird. It's like just under 500 pages. So yeah, it's a bit chunky too. But this is just a weird book I've been wanting to read. I think it's also part of a series. Maybe, I'm not sure, but anyway, this is by B. Catling, The Vore, and it just sounds wonderfully weird, and I just haven't gotten to it yet. So, outside the colonial town of Essenwald lies the Vore, a vast, perhaps endless forest, sentient and magical, a place of demons and angels, of warriors and priests. The Vore bends time and wipes memory. Legend holds that the Garden of Eden still exists at its heart. Now, a renegade foreign soldier intends to be the first human to traverse its expanse. Armed with only a bow, he begins his journey. But some fear the consequences of his mission, so a native marksman is chosen to stop him. Around these adversaries swirls a remarkable cast of characters, including a tragically curious young girl and a cyclops raised by robots, as well as such historical figures as proto-surrealist Raymond Rousseau and pioneering photographer Edward Muybridge. Fact and fiction blend. The hunter will become the hunted, and everyone's fate will hang in the balance in The Vore. It sounds wonderfully weird, right? This is the book I like to read. This is the stuff I enjoy. It's been sitting on my shelf for a few years. I've been really wanting to read some more Ron Rash. Serena. I've got several Ron Rash books on my shelf that I haven't read yet. I might definitely would like to read Serena. I've got The Risen. I think I've got another one. But anyway, I pulled Serena. Another kind of chunky one, but it's okay. Ron Rash, Appalachian literature. Ron Rash is sort of like the top of the top. It's a little, and I think this has been made into a movie too, which I haven't seen, because who watches movies? Well, there isn't really much about. There isn't really much a blurb about this one. It just says, conjures a gothic tale of greed, corruption, and revenge with a ruthless, powerful, and unforgettable woman at its heart, set amid the wilds of 1930s North Carolina and against the backdrop of America's burgeoning environmental movement. So that's all it really says on the back of this one. I know it's going to be just luscious writing, and like I said, that Appalachian, North Carolina Appalachian area, which I love so much. So yeah, more Ron Rash please. Finally, certainly not least, is Appleseed by Matt Bell, another book I was so excited to when it first released. I bought flipping hardback. I don't buy hardbacks. I think I bought it last year during like Barnes & Noble when they have the half off hardback sale. I think I picked it up then. But I haven't read it yet. Okay, in 18th century Ohio, two brothers travel into the wooded frontier, planting apple orchards from which they plan to profit in the years to come. As they remake the wilderness in their own image, the long-held bonds and secrets between the two will be tested, fractured, broken, and possibly healed. 50 years from now, in the second half of the 21st century, climate change has ravaged the Earth. Having invested early in genetic engineering and food science, one company now owns all of the world's resources. But a growing resistance is working to redistribute both land and power. And in a pivotal moment for the future of humanity, one of the company's original founders will return to headquarters, intended to destroy what he helped build. 1,000 years in the future, North America is covered by a massive sheet of ice, inhabited by only one lonely being in a deteriorating tech station. In a daring and quixotic quest, how you say that, he sets out across the continent in search of a fabled last remnant of civilization. Part speculative epic, part tech thriller, part reinvented fairy tale, Appleseed is an unforgettable meditation on climate change, corporate, civic, and familial responsibility, manifest destiny, and the myths and legends that sustain us all. It sounds wonderful. It sounds fantastic. Yet it just sits there on my shelf, not being read. This beautiful blue. I love this, like this scene with this apple and the tree, and then this sort of like graphic nature. I don't know. It's just a stunning book. I think it sounds so wonderfully interesting. So that's the 10 books, 10 physical books that are really high on my priority list for Read What You Own Challenge. So hopefully these will be popping up soon on TBRs and getting read in the next several months. Have you read any of them? Let me know. I'm down for some buddy reads to help me get through them. Let me know. So yeah, that's going to do it for me today. If you were taking part in the Read What You Own Challenge and want to show your own top 10 list for physical books that you want to get to, definitely let us know. And again, if you're in the challenge, good luck to you. Stay strong. You can do it. It's still early days, but stay strong, my friends. All right. I'll see you in the next guys. Bye.